This was supposed to be this week's video. Instead, we have a ruined project, hundreds of dollars of wasted material, and about 3 days of wasted time. So instead of pretending that these things don't happen, I'll be covering the 10 costly mistakes that I've seen over the last 12 years of running CNC routers in the hopes that you guys don't make these same mistakes that I have. And of course, we'll definitely be covering this one, my latest mistake that's kind of baffling me. Let's go. So we'll start this off with a mistake that's not only easy to make, but it's also easy to fix. And this is something I did a ton early on, and it's really simple. Ready? Snap the collet into the collet nut. Guys, you would not believe how many beginners out there, or even people that have been doing it a while, don't know to snap in their collet to their collet nut. And so if you don't snap it in properly, the bit does not get held properly because the thing in the front right here, when it gets pressure on the back, actually squeezes. And so if it is not squeezing properly, what happens while you're cutting, the bit is going to slowly slide out and run into your project. And so if you have bit slippage, it's either the collet is the wrong size or you didn't properly snap it in there. Now the next mistake I made is using damaged or dirty collets. So let me explain what each one does and why it cost me some money. So the first one is a dirty collet. And when collets are dirty, right, this collet fits into your spindle and it kind of like jams in there. And then all of this pushes down and properly holds the bit, okay? And if there's a piece of dirt or gunk or some type of rust or something like that because you don't take blade and bit cleaner and a little wire brush and clean your collets, you end up with a hold that is not proper. So it's inside the spindle, there's a little bit of dirt and gunk, and so instead of that bit getting held straight down, it's going to be just a little off to the side. And then it kind of cuts like this. And whenever it cuts like that, you have chatter marks, you have fuzzies. In extreme cases, you get broken bits. And so if you break a bit inside of a collet and it leaves marks right here where the bit goes into it, that is now a flawed collet because it's also going to cause the bit to not sit properly and cause those chatter marks, cause the bit to wear out quicker, be a little bit harder on your machine, and obviously the results are kind of everywhere. Your project, your bit, your spindle, etc. And you definitely see this with really industrial machines. So this is when this really hit home for me. The next mistake I made early on is actually cutting in the wrong order, right? And what I mean by that, let's say you're making this game box right here, right? And you have to do all this pocketing work right here so that the dominoes and stuff like that fit. And then you have to cut everything out. Well, if you run that profile cut first, and even if you have tabs, it's going to cause this pocketing to vibrate, which is going to cause you to possibly the material is going to pop up because the tabs are going to break, but also it's going to have a ton of chatter marks in here and require like an extra 15 minutes of sanding that you don't need. And if you do that over 5 or 6 projects, you're looking at an extra hour for just not cutting in the right order. Another example is this little skee ball table right here. And this is a project I made on the channel a few years ago. And this one was really interesting because, 4 points. This one was interesting because it had a ton of small parts and a ton of different ways to pocket it out. And so if I did not cut everything in order, I would have chipped out projects, I would have parts slipping, and there's just so many things that can go wrong just by the way you organize the cuts. So a good rule of thumb for me is I try to make all of my profile cuts that cut all the way through my project and cut out a part the very last thing, if possible. If not, I will cut almost all the way through it and leave a pretty big eggshell or onion skin and then still come back, and that's the very last thing I'll do is trim everything up. You would not believe how many projects I messed up because I didn't think about the cutting order and move them whenever I save them to my CNC. Huge tip, it's gonna save you a lot of time and a lot of sanding. The next mistake is using the wrong bit for the wrong material. And to piggyback on that, the wrong size bit. So let me explain. This is a maze game. I cut it out of some Bamex and then I also had to cut out some acrylic. And so to cut out this maze game, I needed to use a downcut bit and not an upcut bit because an upcut bit would have had a lot of chip out and had a lot of fuzzies. Now that's a pretty normal CNC problem to solve, right? Use a down cut when you want to clean top side, use an upcut when you want to clean bottom side. Pretty simple there. But whenever you cut something like acrylic, you can't just use a standard upcut. You have to use what's called an O-flute. And the reason you have to use an O-flute is the same reason you have to use an O-flute on soft plastic as well, or even aluminum. And the reason is, it's all about chip ejection. And so even though a standard upcut bit, a two-flute upcut, is going to eject the chips upward, it's about how the chips get ejected. So an upcut O-flute is designed to eject the chips almost in like a rooster tail fashion. And if you've cut plastic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It makes a complete mess. But what that does is it gets the chips out of the way so nothing melts, okay? And so quickly you can look at somebody else's CNC project or look at your own and be like, okay, that's because the plastic chips are melting because, I used a down cut, or I didn't use an O-flute and so I have all these chatter marks on my plastic. Or, back to the bit diameter thing, this bird feeder right here has a piece of acrylic in it, okay? And I'm using a 1/8 inch O-flute to cut this. And because I know an 1/8 inch O-flute upcut is going to have a lot of upward force because it's shooting all those chips outward and it's cutting a plastic, all good things, right? But if I were to use a 1/4 inch upcut O-flute, it has so much force that it may actually bend this material right here. And it's going to cause chatter marks because that 1/4 inch is coming down and maybe I can't properly hold this down and I get chatter marks and lots of bad things happen. And so it's just really important to understand not only why and when to use a bit, but also think about the diameter and what it's doing as far as chip ejection goes and material hold down. Now, this maze game right here and this bird feeder are both part of our CNC kits that CIC Workshop releases. So if you've not gotten your hands on one of these several kits we offer, you get the materials, the digital file, and a step-by-step video exactly how to do it, and the commercial license to sell it. It is the best-selling thing on CIC Workshop, and I think you'll love it. The next mistake is something I didn't understand how much it mattered till I started cutting out different projects. And that mistake is not having a flat spoil board. So let me show you 3 different projects and why a flat spoil board matters. And for those of you who don't know, a flat spoil board is literally taking your spoil board that's on your hobby CNC and running a bit across it and making sure it's flat. So project number 1, this is a sign, and this sign did not have a flat spoil board. And so you can tell on one side of the sign, it went deeper than the other side of the sign. One side was higher, one side was lower, bad cut happens. This one, this is a photo V-carve, right? And this photo V-carve can only happen if you have a level spoil board. If the spoil board is unlevel, even off by like a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd of an inch, then this eye is going to be a different color than this eye, or this may be faded and this may be really black. And so if you're going to do photo V-carves, a level spoil board is very important. Ask me how I know. I don't have that one that I messed up because I threw it away. And then I serviced my spoil board after. And last one, this maze game. And so this piece of acrylic has to get cut and it gets fit into this maze game. And I want this tiny little rim all the way around it. And so it looks nice and clean. There's nothing that's going to cut anybody, and that's perfectly flat. You would not be able to achieve a clean pocket like this if the spoil board was not flat. And so some people think they can get away with it because they cut a certain project and they don't need a flat spoil board. I will tell you firsthand, you will save more time taking the 30 minutes to flatten a spoil board than fighting with a ton of bad projects because you did not flatten it. It sucks. I hate doing it. I hate doing it on a hobby CNC. I hate doing it on industrial CNCs, but it has to be done. And when it's done, your CNC will thank you, and so will your sanding time. The next mistake is not giving your collet enough to grab onto. Now this is called not enough seating length. I believe that's the term. If not, that's my redneck term, okay? And so this bit needs to fit inside the collet to a certain length, okay? So why this matters is if the collet is holding on to only about this much, you're going to get a lot more vibration and what's called deflection in a bit, right? And that bit's gonna pop and it's gonna chatter and bad things are gonna happen. But if you go too far, bad things also happen. And so I see this commonly happen, and I did this. Whenever I have like a really deep cut I want to do, I will keep sticking it. Remember that click. I will keep sticking it farther and farther out so I can reach, right? That doesn't work, or at least it shouldn't work. And if you are doing that, you are lucky as of right now. And so what you want to do is, my rule of thumb at least, is I like to be about 1/8 inch away from the end of the fluting of the bit, if possible. So on solid carbide bits, I will go inside the collet up to about 1/8 inch away from the end of the fluting length. That gives the minimum amount of stick out and the maximum amount of seating length. And so that's what you want to do. But let's assume you have a smaller collet like this ER11 collet. Well, you may not be able to do that because it's going to stick out way too far in the back and like not be able to hold properly. So you just want to get as close as you possibly can, right? And so this is kind of how this one would get clamped inside of your spindle. Now, obviously, if you're running V-bits or something like this, you're not going to stick the V-bit all the way into the collet like that. That doesn't really make sense. And so this is where some common sense kind of comes in. Like, this is the amount that you're actually cutting with the V-bit. It's not that much force. It can stick out a little bit more, right? And the last one I would say is like on a bowl and tray bit. You know, how much is the correct seating length in this? Once again, it's probably one of those common sense things. You just stick it in there till it feels right. Feels good, baby. You know, you can do it right here. If you're worried about your nut hitting, oh gosh, that sounds so bad. If you're worried about your collet nut hitting, then stick it out just a little bit more and you are good to go. Just don't barely put it in there. Cool? Cool. This bad whiskey smoker right here is the result of the next mistake that I learned. And that is running your CNC too fast where it skips a step. Now, this is only going to happen in open loop CNC systems. So like really industrial CNCs have a closed loop system. So if you screw up, the CNC is going to stop, right? It has like its own built-in circuit breaker, if you want to kind of think of it that way. But open loop systems don't know to stop, and they'll do what's called skipping a step. So when you push it too hard, it's going to kind of lose where it's at and then start messing up your project. And so this one I cut out on a $500 CNC. I ran it a little bit too fast, and it literally skipped a little notch on the belt that was driving it, which caused the project to mess up. And so if you have a CNC with an open loop system and you're getting weird cuts, or you're cutting over here and then all of a sudden it's supposed to go down here, but it goes down here, right? So it's like cutting and it's supposed to go down over here and it starts right here. That means you're probably running it too fast and it's skipping steps and it literally cuts right through your project and ruins projects. So if you're skipping a step on a CNC and you have weird stuff like this happening, slow it down. It's okay, you're pushing it too hard. The next mistake is something I have made early on and I still make to this day, and I actually just made it yesterday. And that is not setting the correct Z height, and also when setting the Z height, running your bit right into your material. I did that yesterday. So what this is pretty simple, guys. Obviously, whenever you're setting up your project, you're going to do your origins, right? Your X and your Y, and a lot of people forget to set their Z's, so don't forget to set it. But be very careful when you're lowering to your Z height if you do not use a touch probe, because one little finger slip or you don't put it on slow and you keep it on fast and it goes straight into your material. I don't need to stay on this one for long. Just know if you're a beginner and it's happened to you, it will continue to happen to you eventually. You'll get going a little too fast, you'll mess up, you'll have a brain fart, and then it's going to happen. It still happens to me. Don't forget to set your Z height. The next mistake has ruined the most amount of projects and bits, and that is bad work holding. Now, obviously, a lot of you know what bad work holding looks like, right? The bit's going, and then it's the material slides, and the bit breaks, and then, obviously not good things happen, and your project is ruined. And now this took me a long time to understand. I think it's more important to have great work holding than good work holding. Let me explain. So A lot of y'all guys use double-sided tape, and you can put it on the bottom of your project, and I do this as well, and it does hold down the project, and the project does not move whenever you cut it, right? The problem with, let's say, using something like double-sided tape for every single project is that it does happen to move a little bit. Obviously, it has a chance to totally rip up and ruin your project. That's an obvious thing, but whenever it moves just that little bit, it's going to cause vibration and chatter. And so if you do it with just double-sided tape, you'll kind of notice you'll have a few more fuzzies or a few more little chatter marks, and that's because that material is vibrating. Like a good rule of thumb to check if you have good work holding, whether you're using clamps or double-sided tape, is if you're cutting over here on a project, put your hand over here. And if it's vibrating a ton, like, and let's say the sawdust is kind of bouncing, or if you put BBs or something like that, they're bouncing on there, that means that you do not have proper work holding, right? And back to my tip earlier, that's why I run profile cuts last. That way I have the most work hold possible to my material. Because if it's vibrating, that means the bit's vibrating, which is transferring to everything, which is going to cause bad cuts. And so it's not all about the obvious bad work holding. It's about using enough clamps for good work holding. Now, you will end up hitting those clamps and probably breaking some bits from time to time. I've done that more times than I want to count, but it's okay. That's part of the game, baby. So now let's talk about the mistake on this giant project right here. Now, this project was going to be this amazing photo V-carve, and all of a sudden, about 2 hours into a 3-hour carve, it started going haywire. It started cutting a little bit longer over here, and then it started cutting vertical, and just ruined the entire piece, and a lot of work on that video that we were supposed to do over this. Stay tuned, it is coming. And the mistake that I think it is, and maybe it's not, but I think it is some kind of a connection problem. And so I'm holding this because I used to run a CNC with it going from the computer source of the CNC to this Mac, and I'd plug it into here, and then it would transfer it from there into the Mac and yada, 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 right? What I have found with a bad connection like this is it starts not giving good code or reliable data, and I don't know all the CNC vocabulary lingo. Somebody can comment down below. But bad things happen when you have too many different connections going on. And so if your CNC randomly goes haywire, and this has happened on some other projects, it's probably like bad data. It's not necessarily your G code from the software you saved on. It is that computer system over there for the CNC interpreting the G code, right? And that gets lost between all these different USB, USB-C connections. But on this particular project, I don't know if that's the case. It could be, because it did good for like the first hour and a half, like I said. And then it cut too long, and then it started cutting good again, and then all of a sudden it started doing vertical lines. And I know for sure there's no vertical lines in this G code because it's a photo V carve at a 45-degree angle. So I say all this to say this sucks, but it also still happens, and I still have not learned everything about CNC after 12 years of running CNCs. Guys, if y'all know what the heck is going on, please let me know. I think it's just a bad cable issue, or maybe I need to have a cable with, I think it's EMI frequency saver, something like that. Somebody much more intelligent than me, please let me know so I can not make this same mistake twice, and so others can learn from it as well. So with that being said, I hope you left this video with more knowledge than when you started. And as always, guys, remember, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.